You got Burrow. You got Lamar. Shady, who needs to win more in this one, big dog?
I mean, it's got to be Joe Burrow. I mean, all we talk about is Lamar Jackson being like an MVP again. And we know they're going to the playoffs. Right now, today, the Bengals not in the playoffs.
No.
All this great talent, all these great stats you talking about, Joe Burrow's throwing for all these yards, touchdowns, Jamar Chase, all these guys, they're not even in the playoffs. And actually, what are they, third in their division right now? So it's got to be Joe Burrow. I mean, if we want to keep putting Joe Burrow up with the elite to the elites, because we think he's an elite quarterback, you got to show us. Imagine a world where a guy like Josh Allen doesn't make the playoffs. Imagine a world with a guy like Lamar Jackson, so good, so great, don't make the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes don't make the playoffs. Think about this for a second. If what's his name? Jalen Hurts. If he don't make the playoffs, we would be killing him. So, yes, all the pressure is on Joe Burrow. Because if you don't go to the playoffs, we're going to be talking about it. And this is a legacy hit. For you to be so good in your prime, right, you can't make the playoffs? Come on, man. Seriously.
That's well said. I'll suggest maybe Lamar needs to win more. Reason I'll suggest it is if Lamar doesn't win this game, the MVP favorite is slowly but surely not just slipping, but running out of his hands. He'd have 4 losses through 10 weeks. Last year, he had 4 losses through 18 weeks. Remember, Lamar Jackson won MVP last year, not because of his individual statistics. He won MVP because he was on the best team in football and was the best player in football. But for as great as Lamar and the Ravens are, they're the best offense we've seen, best running game, best quarterback, how you got 4 losses? Like, you did lose to the Raiders. We watched that. You didn't lose to the Chiefs. We watched that. So, for as great as they are, you did lose to the Browns, if I'm not mistaken. We watched that. You can't give Lamar Jackson this MVP if he finishes the season with 6 or 7 losses and Jared Goff finishes the season with 2 or 3 losses. So, for me, Lamar needs to win more because if Lamar is chasing history, a 3rd MVP, which would be crazy, along with the unanimous one, you can't be sitting at 6-4 and the MVP favorite. Again, as an MVP voter, I'll start to look at the 7-1 and 8-1 Jared Goff and look at what he's doing and lean that way.
I was going to ask you that as an MVP voter because that's first of all, it's pretty freaking cool. How do you factor in losses even with the stats that Lamar is putting up? Because we were talking about it earlier. How do you have 3 losses with this offense?
Right.
How does it look for you, though?
For me, I factor that in major.
Okay.
If I'm looking at Lamar and you got 4 losses, and I'm looking at Jared Goff and you're 8-1, now I'm saying, wait, Jared Goff, you got the best completion percentage in football. You got one of the best offenses in football. I would probably lean Jared Goff over a 6-4 Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I like the take. I think it's smart, but I'm with Shady. I think it's got to be Joe Burrow for 2 reasons. First, pure standings wise, right? They're 3rd in the division right now. They're only, for how much we talk about them and how much is Joe Burrow back? Is Joe Burrow not? Is he good? Is his stats good? Whatever. They're only a game out of the playoffs. Like they're only a game out. So they got a tough schedule coming up, but right now they're currently the 9th seed in the AFC playoff game. And if you remember last time they played against them, right, he threw 5 touchdowns in that crazy game. Now he lost a fumble late in that game, which hurt him. But then I just want to go a little bit deeper. Not only is it standings wise, it's a little bit of reputation wise for me. Because if you look at it in Joe Burrow's timeline since he entered the league in 2020, every season that he's made the playoffs and gone deep in the playoffs, he's been healthy. Look at it. 2020 first season, he blew out his knee. He missed the last 6 games, didn't make the playoffs. 2021, okay, started all 16 games, made it to the Super Bowl. Right? 2022, started all 16 games, made it to the conference championship. 2023, calf hurt in preseason, wrist hurt, didn't make the playoffs. 2024, he's healthy. He's healthy, so we can't give him a pass if he doesn't make the playoffs because he's been hurt. The 2 years he hadn't make the playoffs, he's been hurt. So this is the Joe Burrow that I want to see going forward. It's like you're on pace for 37 touchdowns and 7 picks. Like, how do you handle a short week versus a really good opponent and an opponent you had success with last time? So I think it's reputation and standings for me.
All right, guys, listen. I know it seems like it's Joe Burrow and the Bengals that need and must win this game, but it's not. It's Lamar Jackson. Let me tell you why. Listen, Joe Burrow and the Bengals aren't playing well this year. Yes, Joe Burrow is actually still playing well, but his team isn't winning. Everyone thinks that the Baltimore Ravens are destined for the Super Bowl this year. They have Super Bowl aspirations. They're playing at a high level. Yeah, they've lost to a couple of bad teams, but everybody think that was just a fluke and that, hey, these guys are destined for a huge year this year to be in the Super Bowl. So what I feel like Lamar Jackson has to win this game. Listen, just not to say that if they don't win this game, they're not going to the Super Bowl or they have no chance. No, it's just for the momentum that they built up. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are flying high right now, and like I said, they've lost to a couple of bad teams. They're smashing good teams, and I think that they're going to continue to do the same. And they need this win, like I said, for momentum purposes. Not to say that they won't make it to the Super Bowl, but Joe Burrow and the Bengals, people, like I said, Joe Burrow's playing at a high level still, but by the team not playing well, no one really even thinks that they're going to make it to the Super Bowl this year. So, in my opinion, it's a must win for Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens.
Joe Burrow. Come on, man. Lamar Jackson's team is going to the playoffs. Lamar Jackson's team looks unstoppable. Lamar Jackson looks like he's MV3. Joe Burrow needs to win this game more. We fell in love with Joe Burrow because of what you just said, right? None of the stats, none of that winner, right? This year, when he runs up against solid quarterbacks, I shouldn't say solid when I'm about to say this name. When he runs up against great quarterbacks, right? You lost to Patty. You lost to Jaden Daniels. You lost to Lamar Jackson. You lost to Jalen Hurts. You beat Watson. You beat Minshew. I ain't even going to put the Patriots in there because you lost to them too. You ain't beat no good quarterback this year. This is a Joe Burrow team this year. And what I mean by that is Joe Burrow has to play phenomenal every single game. That's just what you got to do, dog. The defense is not like that. Right? The defense probably ain't going to stop Lamar. You're probably going to have to score 38 or whatever you did like you did last time. That's just how your team's built. Is it unfair? Sure. But you got to be the best player on your football team every single time you go out there and play at a high level. And if you don't do that against Lamar Jackson in Baltimore Thursday, you're not going to win the game. All the pressure's on Joe Burrow because if they win this game, they're probably not going to the playoffs. And to be honest with you, when I watch them, I don't see a playoff team at all. Joe Burrow is playing pretty well, but offensively, they don't truly have enough, if you ask me. Defensively, they don't have enough. So Joe Burrow is going to have to be Superman and play out his mind to get his team to the Super Bowl. So I don't necessarily know that happens, but this game right here, you're 1-5 against Lamar Jackson. 1-5 against Lamar Jackson. He's in your division. You're going to see him plenty more times. You have to find a way to get this done, not only to beat Lamar Jackson, but to save your season in mind.
It's not scary no more, man. I remember a time where, like, the Bengals, remember we used to talk about the Bengals, like, they threatened the Chiefs?
Joe? Yeah.
Right? Like, they're not even scary no more.
21-22?
Like, it's a time where, like, you know, I always had the confidence in the Chiefs that, hey, can't nobody beat them. But I got to be honest, I didn't want to see the Bengals play the Chiefs. Because there's a possibility, you know, that they could interfere with
he's really good against Mahomes.
You know, success of the Chiefs. Yeah. But now it's like, oh, we got the Bengals. Oh, you got Joe? Cool. Yeah. Bring him on.
And not only
Thursday night, bring him on.
And that's a really good point, too, because even some of the topics I'd be looking at, like, who do you trust more, Burrow or Hurts? And we say Hurts. Like, Burrow or Lamar. Even 2 years ago, we wouldn't even say Lamar. It would be unanimous. Burrow. Who you looking at? Burrow. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's crazy to me. That's why Burrow has to get back to that. Smacking the Raiders, throwing 5 touchdown passes, that's a start. You know what I'm saying? But I need to see this against Lamar Jackson because that's the Burrow that we are used to seeing.
They got a tough path going.
Yeah, James, you said that the Bengals don't have enough. Well, someone suggests the Cowboys haven't had enough. However, that hasn't mattered. They keep losing, and Mike McCarthy is the one that's taking all the blame. But has the head coach Mike McCarthy been set up to fail? We will tell y'all what everybody else seems to be ignoring. Let's go there next. Was Mike McCarthy set up to fail in a facility?
And don't lie to